To Practical Principles. This is Practical Prince. We're doing talk and tarot, so go ahead and drop your questions in. We'll do as many readings as we can for the next couple hours or less. Wednesday's been a light stream lately. Don't know what went wrong with the Facebook connection on Friday. Excuse me. But as far as I can tell, things should be working. So, assuming that, I'm going to check now. But assuming, yeah, okay. I'll just have to follow up with the Restream people directly to try and figure out, hey, was it a one-off last week, or did something go down? Yeah, I don't know. Because, yeah, everything seemed to be up. But, well, anyways. I should shuffle, but now I shuffle like all the time, so I know I don't need to shuffle. So we can just hang around and chat. And by chat, I mean monologue, since I'm going on right now. Minor news, getting a temporary table. It's actually a old conference table from work, so I'll be setting that up at some point. It's unfortunate because once I set this up and figure out the sound situation, I'd like to leave it alone because it's a tad temperamental, but I'm really going to have to take this down so I can set up the new table, which will be nice. It's a bit more spacious. Not exactly sure because it's kind of thick on the edge. So the light thing, it's got a clamp. I don't know if it'll go big enough to really hook onto it. But we can probably figure out something at that point. This light thing is supposed to hook onto the edge of tables. That one might be too thick. Or what I'm using right now is a camping table, so it's just awkward because it's got like this metal edge, and yeah, that's on the other side, and then it's got tables stretched on the other side. All sorts of wonky. Good evening, Adelaide. How's it going? But yeah, just commenting on the table I'm going to be setting up. Hopefully that goes well. I'll actually have to use some tools to reassemble it. But yeah, it usually works out one way or another. I don't know stuff, but I know Google, and Google knows a lot of stuff, so it usually works out. But yeah. I know we've got a bit of an international audience. I had a holiday over the weekend, on Monday. Don't know about you guys, but I got to have lots of fun. Play some games. I'm a fairly big board gamer. Not super big again. I'm sure there are other people far more devoted than myself, but yeah. That's an interesting thought. I doubt it's capitalism, though. Because if anything, capitalism takes advantage of the fact that it's the attractive, alluring, blah, 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 and just brings it front and center by bringing those elements into their advertising. So, yeah, as far as why people aren't opening, nudity I would have to think about more. I mean, there's definitely, I think they call them nude colonies or something like that, but where just all the people there go nude. Yeah, I have to give that thought as to why that would be an unspoken, a taboo thing. Um, I mean, there's definitely laws around like obscenity, and to a certain extent, like public nudity and whatnot. But I'm not sure if that's reinforcement enough because, like, who actually knows those laws? We just know they exist. We don't know the letter or anything like that, and it's not like it's ever been enforced on us. The closest thing to enforcement you get is your parents dressing you up when you were a kid. So, um, yeah, yeah, nudity would be an interesting one. Um, then sex. I'm trying to think. I mean, it could still be hangover from just the strong religious period and the religious streak. I mean, yeah. I mean, because yeah, culturally, religion is falling out of favor. I think, or people set it aside and whatnot. So as far as like those reasons for treating sex special in some way, um, those might be falling out of favor. Although, I mean, like even for people open to sex, they don't really talk about all the implications because it's not like you talk with your partner ahead of time about if the birth control doesn't work, what are we going to do about the fetus slash child slash life slash thing, however you're going to refer to it. So, yeah, I don't know if sex itself is the issue, but yeah, I mean, if you got too open, you get into those uncomfortable things that turn you off from having sex. So maybe that's part of it. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, that's probably enough musing for now. Excuse me. Oh, gosh. I set this up and then didn't even actually plug it in. Let me go ahead and do that. You might not have been able to hear me. I'm here talking to a mic and really it's the laptop that must be picking it up. And then let's just check our audio. Okay, and yeah, we're still hearing me, so that's good. But yeah, as far as them being open about it, or at least the capitalism, uh, okay, thought so. Um, but yeah, I mean, sex has an inherent, what would you call that? Incentive, um, reward built into it. So I don't think like it's when they say sex wouldn't sell, sex still has a draw. It's just built into it, at least as far as how we're constructed. So yeah, I don't think that would really get away from it. They obviously leverage it, allude to it in their advertising. We talked on that already. So, and who knows how long they've been doing that. So I doubt that's really the reason. I don't think we can pin it on capitalism. Um, but then as far as what? Well, so we did sex. As far as nudity, yeah, yeah. My best thing would be that it's a hangover from religion and whatnot. But I don't know.
I feel like there might be another thing to it, but it's not going to mind right now. Because otherwise, that's cultural, social reinforcement that's leading to that. So, yeah. Oh, I forgot to shave today. Guess I'll have to do that tomorrow. Anyways, yeah, let me know if I need to recap any of that because yeah, I don't know how good the laptop picked that up before I switched to the mic. Uh, gotcha. Yeah. I mean, Restream has some noise cancellation, but yeah, the sound thing that I use has its own noise cancellation built in, and this is obviously a bit more geared towards me as opposed to other things. So yeah, it tends to help clean it up a lot. Still trying to figure it out, or well, I mean, there's still plenty to muse on. I don't know if I can help you muse on it any more than I have. And yeah, that's not necessarily. I don't know if we. I guess we could try reading on that, but that would be. It's definitely not the typical question. That's for sure. But yeah, and for anyone else, it is talking tarot. So if you have questions, go ahead and ask. Otherwise, we'll just keep talking. Hey, plain and practical. Found a similarly named buddy. So yeah, we're just chatting at this point. But if you do have a question, go ahead. Yeah, if you've got one, we'll definitely try to answer it. Otherwise, we can just talk. And sometimes that's better for some things. Why? Um, that's a good question. Like, um, I mean, I would probably say partly for convenience. Sometimes when the cards are shuffled and whatnot, it's hard to tell whether a card is upright or not. So the fact that it comes out the wrong way, upside down, reversed, whatever, doesn't change their intent that it was only upright. Um, and sometimes that's just like, for example, I've got a deck, and the guides that came with it only had upright meanings. So there was no associated reversed. Not to say that I couldn't go find one, for example, um, but it just didn't come that way. Right. And so, yeah, as a practical matter, it will sometimes get mixed up, and that wasn't the point. It wasn't intentional to have them disoriented, however you want to put it. And then I have had some cards come out reversed, and when that happens, I do try to figure out the reversed meaning. Possibly. Yeah. I mean, it depends on how the power, spirit, whatever you're using to facilitate that operates. Like, I sometimes think that it uses very fine nudges and positioning. So whereas one card might be suitable enough for a use case, it might use that over a better one because it's saving that for something more important, potentially. I don't really pry into that or worry about it too much. But that's sort of my one-off theory. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes that's how it goes. Sometimes it's a mistake. Yeah. But yeah. Like, I've definitely had a deck where it did have reversed with it, but I hadn't shuffled it that way. And at one point, a card had got put back the wrong way. And so when that came up, I had to double check, like, was this really supposed to be reversed? And yeah. And I think, yeah, in that case, it was supposed to be. So, yeah. I know some decks are designed where you can't tell whether it's upright or reversed, at least from the back. Excuse me. And so I guess that sort of facilitates if you want them mixed up. And of course, if you don't, then it's just, well, when you draw it, you'll just orient it correctly or just ignore the orientation. But when I've done reversed readings, they aren't necessarily opposite to the upright meaning. I'm not all that familiar with the reverse, but there's some where it's like, yeah, not quite opposite. It's not just a simple negation. So, yeah. So when I do get reverse, I do tend to lean on the particular deck's guide. One, because I don't usually know reversed, but then also some decks have slightly different interpretations, or at least the guides with them have slightly different interpretations of the cards. Some are softer, some are harder. Well, you make it sound like it's something you might do, but is it possible that a reversed sun is what's intended? Like, I think it could be. I wouldn't necessarily want that on someone. I'd have to double check reversed, but yeah. I'm not familiar with, unless that's like a, gosh, supernatural reference. I'm not. sure what that phrase would be referring to. And I'm sure there's other Crowleys, but that's probably the one I'm most familiar with. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and you go there. So, yeah. Yeah, reverse are interesting. And then, of course, I've got the thing with skews where it can get even a little more offset from those meanings, upright or reversed. But, yeah. Sometimes just how the card is laid out, or I guess the spread, how the cards are laid out, tilts cards. And that doesn't necessarily make it skew or reverse or anything like that. Usually I can tell when it's intended. No, I haven't used them for that at least. Frankly, I don't really use them too much for myself. So, but that is interesting. Yeah, I'll have to look that up. Yeah. I mean, plenty of people reference horoscopes, and I still haven't looked that up. But sigil sounds a little more interesting. So, and maybe it's just because horoscopes aren't relevant to how I do stuff. Uh, yeah. Well, eventually you can just learn it by rote, but yeah, I find I just don't need that extra information, that extra input in order to get a read. So to me, that given that they're somewhat arbitrary categories, it hasn't been too much of a yeah, there hasn't been too much draw to learn that. I mean, it's cool when things use them and it's fun to read them, but yeah, when it comes down to it, it just doesn't have enough going for it to draw me in. Object divination. Hey, Vulcan. Um, you could definitely say that. Yes, it has been going good so far. My wife has switched to a more practical diet thanks to some encouragement. But yeah, so that's been good. And then going to be setting up a new table, so that'll be fun. Yes, go ahead, Vulcan. And yeah, it's been fun. Not too bad at all. Well, she was doing calorie counting, which was rough. Um, I've got her to switch to intermittent fasting, and that has been much better mentally. Like it's not, it doesn't feel as hard. So yeah, yeah. Um, like as far as getting the job, um, or like enjoying it or something. I guess. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I got the right question. Yeah. When diets get too restrictive, which dick? Okay. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of interesting the diets that are based around the food you like and then supplementing for its deficiencies, but I feel like that might be a bit more appealing. But yeah, anyways. Okay. Oh, and let me go ahead and show cards. Okay. And its chances, excuse me, of getting the job. I'll figure out if those are really tied together. Hey, Jamie. How's it going? And then is it that one as well? Might be. If not, I can return it. Let's see. Doing pretty good. Yeah, it's been a productive day. Also got to have some fun. And now I get to read, so all in all, going well. Okay, I think we found it all, but let me check. Okay. So yeah, they're a pair. Is that the more informative? I was expecting more information from here, and we're getting information from there, but this one seems to be the greater part, or the more important piece, and this is just filler. So it's going to be, I mean, it's sort of following the 3-card spread for the yes/no. I'm assuming these are going to be on the same page. If not, I'm going to have to suss that out, but we'll find out. Infinite paths. I believe that's usually the sun. 10 of trees would be 10 of pentacles, the peacock, and ace of lotuses. So normally the empress, and then ace of cups. So all of this is positive. This would be saying, yes, you're getting it. 10 of trees. normally 10 of Pentacles. I'll see if it has anything different. But I mean, that speaks to financial security. Or at least financial stability might be the better way to put that. Because I'm sure if you tried to destroy it, you could, but... Come on, trees. Dum, dum. And yes, Cosmo likes to do something different. So, 10 of trees. Fulfillment, dreams coming true, joy. I'm pretty sure that speaks for itself, but yeah, let me know if you want me to dig into that. As far as Ace of Lotuses and the Peacock, yeah, I mean, that's promising for new beginnings, even if you might have reservations about them. Okay. Yeah, Peacock speaks to a fusion of opposites, a happy fusion, I should say, a positive bridge. Ace of Lotuses, positive beginnings. Usually this would be emotions and this money, but I mean, your question is obviously geared towards getting the job. So, yeah, seems like it'll work out great. Jamie, if you had a question, you can go ahead and ask. And Vulcan, if you needed clarity, let me know. But yeah, it's all positive. So. No problem. Yeah, this deck likes to use different names and slightly different interpretations, but they're usually close. Well, if you have a question, you can ask and we would read on it. Yeah, that would be funny. But sorry, Jamie, if you've got a question, go ahead and ask. And if you're just wondering about tarot, you can ask about that too. We don't have to read. I do try to make myself available for that, but we can just chat and talk about it, I guess. I know some readers have different requirements, like they need your date of birth and horoscope, and the same for the other person if there is another person as part of your question, but I don't really need that. If you want to be, I guess, somewhat secretive or sensitive, you can code it. And that's fine by me. Will you find love and work? I feel like you should try to get more specific. Because, like, it could be you find love, but not work. And I don't know. Depending on how, well, I mean, it might go into details. We'll see. Yeah, no, I think it's the Twilight one. So, I mean, given the way you phrased it, it could be answered with a yes or no. I don't think that was really your intent. Because, I mean, we normally treat those as separate subjects, and then they, of course, have their own nuance if you want to get into it. So, yeah. Because, yeah, if there were more details or more relevant details, then I would rather ask about those. But I'll go ahead and focus on this. I'm going to try to avoid the generic yes, no, or at least clumping them together, unless it's really appropriate for both. I'll stop talking. Let me just see what I get. Is it actually tempered? Not quite. Oh, I'll double check that. But okay. Well, I'm getting a lot of cards. I'll still need to figure out what they mean. Skewed on top of that. Okay. Where to put that? And I'm running out of space. It goes up there though. Let me slide this a bit. I'll still need to double check that. Okay, let me see if I got everything. This feels like a lot of cards, so I might have got too much, but let's see. Okay, and then I guess just to check. Yeah, it's a fairly light. Reversed. It's probably just not as meaningful, but yeah, reversed and skewed. Let me spread it anyways, but yeah, tempered. Okay. So then what did we get? this set is speaking to work. It seems like you got 3 yes/no answers. So these 3 would be speaking to work. Then on top of that, the cards themselves are meaningful. So definitely this one and these. There's obviously some extra information being communicated there. Probably not that, but I'll double check. Let's see. And that was work. So would this be love or is it something else? Yeah, it looks like this is the love answer. It's feeling a little pessimistic though, so but we'll try to wait till we flip the cards to actually do that. Hey, Evie. Yes. I do have a lot of cards right now, so it'll be a little bit, but yeah, go ahead and ask your question and we'll get to it before the end of the stream. And then, like, I'm used to getting direct messages, stuff that's not necessarily answering the question, but something that the querent needs to know. So the fact that we got what looks like a yes/no sort of spread. Yeah. It feels like you have another yes/no that I don't know if it's more specific or a different topic, but it seems to want to speak to that. This is obviously meaningful. This one seems to have meaning as well. But I'll double check that anyways when we get there. But so, other topic, love, work. And this was most clearly work. So we'll start with this one. And let's see. Meaning, those are fairly equal. And, oh yeah, so all our cards have meaning. So, primary. Okay, we'll get there, Momita. Primary, the secondary card, the one behind it, modifies it. In this case, it's a fairly light modification, but it's there. This is not just the reversed meaning, but also skewed, offset from that. So just letting you know. That's what it's going to be, and I might have to look some of these up because, well, reversed aren't that common. 9 of Pentacles. Over here, we've got Wheel of Fortune with the Hierophant down there. And then here, that's what? 2 of Wands. That's been reversed and offset. Okay, and this speaking to work. Let me double check. 2 of Wands, I want to say is special. Can override the others. But let me double check and see if I can get a feel. Okay, no, it's the 2 of Swords. So that's fine. So yeah, these are all of them positive. So as far as work and presumably somewhat soon, it's positive for that. 9 of Pentacles. I mean, that's almost directly speaking to positive, being good for money. 2 of Wands usually deals with decisions and moving forward. Given that this is reversed and then skewed, let me read a couple reversed so that I can get a feel for that, because usually 2 of Wands is making a decision to move forward in some way. 2, fearing change, stagnant, immobile. Okay, and then this one. Reassessing ideas, creative block, different direction. Okay. So yeah, it seems. Let me make sure I get that right. Unexpected is probably the wrong word to lead with. Because it's not necessarily a surprise. That's not the most important element. It's probably boring or doldrum might be the best way to describe that. And it's not that there's anything wrong with those. It's sort of same old, which, yeah, I don't think that's what you're necessarily wanting, but I'm not getting the sense that there's anything wrong with that either. So that might just be biting the bullet and doing it even though it's not your first choice and probably not your second choice either. As far as Wheel of Fortune tempered by the Hierophant, Wheel of Fortune is auspicious. It's favorable. It does deal with change and cycles. Good times come and go. As far as the Hierophant, that deals with various things, tradition, custom, norms. That's the sort of thing that the Hierophant speaks to. So, as far as the Wheel of Fortune playing into this, it's almost as if it's due, that a good time to come is due. And that might be saying it too strongly, but because a good time means different things to different people. But that positive, that upswing, it's coming due. So favorable as far as work. Let me know if you have questions, but I'm going to slide these off just because we have so many cards. So we'll set those aside. This one's speaking to love. Let me see relevance. Yeah, so these are relevant. We've got a reversed and an upright. This one's just filler for the yes, no. What is that? 6 of Swords, Empress, and then Knight of Wands. Yeah, I just want to make sure. Okay. I didn't think Knights were special, at least as far as a yes-no interpretation. And it's not. So yes, yes. This would put a damper on it. Given that it's reversed, is kind of interesting. So yeah, we're still getting a damper on this. So it's probably going to be a while still. So yeah, just depending on your perspective, time. It is sooner, but later. Because yeah, it's still putting a damper on it. It's not going to be like next couple of weeks probably. But yeah, probably within the next year. Yeah, probably sooner than a year, but still not imminent, I guess is the right way to put that. 6 of Swords normally would be like move on, pass, hard pass. It's reversed though, so I'm gonna have to. I'll double check on that. And then the Empress was the other meaningful one. I mean, that is the female archetype, Mother Earth, so to speak. So that speaks to a female role, the maternal role. But then, gosh, 6 of Swords reversed. Let me check what's going on there. Holding back, uncertainty, resisting change. And then just checking another variation. Holding back, avoiding your future, self-sabotage. Interesting. So yeah, it seems like you're pumping your own brakes, at least as far as this goes, which might not be the worst thing if you really do need to take some time. But if you didn't think you were, now you know. So you might want to reflect and reconsider why you're doing what you're doing or how you're going about it. Because, yeah, you might be getting in your own way if you weren't aware of that. Hey, Jasmine. Okay. I'm going to slide these ones since we've still got more. Go ahead and ask your question. Okay. All right. And we'll get to it. We've got a few people, and I'll go over that. Okay. No problem. You also had this spread speaking to another yes-no that you didn't explicitly ask. And yes, these all have information. Again, a tempered pair. This one a little more strongly than before, but still primary and then secondary. We've got strength. We've got the Hermit. A lot of powerful cards. And then the Magician tempered by Page of Swords. Okay. You didn't ask the yes/no. The answer here is yes, but it takes time. Yeah, just checking. So most of this is probably just direct to you about stuff you need to know for yourself. Strength. Not too much more to say about that other than carry on. It does pay off. It is trying and gosh, there's also a time-consuming aspect to it. That a long trial, long suffering would be the Christian word. But you have the strength, for certain, to bear with it and bear through it. The Hermit speaks to a certain need for introspection, self-reflection, and sometimes some isolation. Not anything hard, but enough space for you to really reflect and look at yourself and be critical, but also not too hard, because it is a workshop in that space and you're working on yourself. And yeah, you don't want to bang on the product until it's out of the workshop and ready to go. So that's those. The Magician speaks to, a certain power to manifest what you want, being able to become reality. It isn't magic. You don't just materialize stuff. But you are perhaps more capable than you're giving yourself credit. This is tempered by Page of Swords, which favors contracts. It favors structure. So I don't know if perhaps some order would benefit you. But that is one way to actually access your power and really bring out the best in you. It's sort of like gravity. Without it, you're just going to float. With it, we get our friction and we get to move around. So that's what this is speaking to. Okay. I'm also going to slide this. I'm going to go on and answer other people's questions. Feel free to reach out to me either in message or through this chat. No problem. But yeah, that was a lot. So yeah. Anyways. Okay, let me get these ones back. Some are reversed, and I want to fix that. Not that it's wrong. I mean, they were obviously intentionally that way. But yeah. Oh. Sure, good enough. Okay. So we had a few questions come in. So let me quickly catch those and make sure we got them. So AV, what's coming for me in love? That's the next one. I'm highlighting it now. Momita is asking about, well, someone in particular. And you had your follow-up. So yeah, we'll do both of those questions. And then Jaswinder asking about Joshua. So that's the order right now, just so you guys know. And let me get on it. What is coming? Is this guy's one? I feel like I have 3 decks that are more suited to questions on love and relationship. But you got the one that is more mystic, I guess. Anyways. Okay. Let's find out what's coming. Is that also relevant? Okay. Is there an order to these things? Not really. Okay. There's 2 things coming. It's not immediate future, so probably not like the next week, 10 days. But it is sooner rather than later. They're 2 different things. I don't know which one comes first. They might overlap. The order could be, well, the other way. Anyways, the vessel, as well as Ace of Embers. So normally Ace of Wands, and this would normally be the Devil. So this one, the vessel, focuses more on materialism. It doesn't focus as much on temptation as the typical devil would, being beholden to addiction and stuff like that. But the message is similar, being enthralled in worldly things. So I don't know if this is, let me see if I can get a better sense of what it is. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a very attractive prospect. Ultimately, not a good mate, but appearances, this one seems desirable, very attractive. It might more so be that you are drawn to it. Yeah. Yeah. So if you find yourself being beholden to someone, you're struggling to get them out of your mind. They keep coming back. That might be a red flag in this case. So try to reconsider, try to be clear, clear-minded, clear-headed. But yeah, I mean, it can be difficult to catch yourself when you're in the thrall. So let me double check Ace of Embers as far as how it'll relate to relationship. Because I want to say this speaks to an inner power. But creation, willpower, inspiration. This mystical flame was born from something unusual and unseen. It holds a potent energy unmatched with that of common fire. It only calls upon your willpower to make it grow. In a reading, the mystical flame is a metaphor for a surge of creativity sparking from an unknown source. It can represent a burning desire to start something new. It urges us to build upon this spark and nurture it rather than question it. It will not always be there to get you started, but when it is, take it as a gift from the universe. So yeah, whatever your idea, your concept of your ideal relationship is, it's going to mature. It's going to get a little more grounded. It'll evolve in that way. We don't necessarily get the person with this, but it's moving you a step closer towards that and narrowing the range of what you're looking for. So it'll help you. Let me know if you have questions on that. Moimita. Or Momita. I might have said that wrong earlier. Does he have feelings for me, and is he stalking me on social media? Okay. And yeah, I'm pretty sure this isn't Cosmo. Let's find out. And I'm just going to do a quick check because for some reason this is... Okay, yeah. There we go. Yeah. For me, the camera for seeing the cards is frozen, basically. I just wanted to make sure you guys were actually seeing your cards. So, looks like we've got Midnight Lucine. Okay. I might need to move that, but we'll see. Hey, Priya. How's it going? It amounts to the same thing. If you have a question, go ahead and ask. I've got a few readings I need to do, but we'll get to yours. Okay. I'm doing good. It's been a good day. A busy day, but a good day. Okay, so feelings. That's going to be this card. As far as, and this is speaking to Mo, the social media, I don't think we got a direct yes, no on that, but we've got character and influence. So this will probably give us an idea of what's up. So what is that? King of Pentacles. Okay. Influence is Seven of Swords, but then Ace of Swords down there. Okay. King of Pentacles is interesting. Because the sense I'm getting from it isn't necessarily like warm fuzzies, romantic sort of stuff. The King of Pentacles is considered powerful, very capable. And this almost feels more like conquest, which, I mean, kind of feels a bit disgusting. But anyways, moving on to character. Ace of Swords indicates a powerful mind, a certain clarity. Yeah. So that's good for him. Unfortunately, the influence of Seven of Swords, that's betrayal, deception. So let me see if I can get a better feel, because I don't think either of these really speaks directly to social media. Yeah, I mean, he's not stalker as in um um as in wanting to know every bit of detail about it. It's not the creepy kind of stalker, but there is definitely doubt, uncertainty, and they do cope with that by checking you online. Hey, Eminem. uh, so yeah, not a hardcore stalker, but they'll do their research, and that might make you a bit uncomfortable. But yeah, that doesn't seem like a personality trait or flaw. So I mean, being scarred can count as a flaw, but I mean, they're coping in a somewhat reasonable way. It might be, but um, it's not particularly malicious or insidious or anything like that. So, but yeah, you didn't ask about this, but this isn't this isn't the kind of prospect I would care to move forward with. So, yeah. Anyways, that's enough for that. Let's go ahead and get Jaswinder's question. After Jaswinder, we've got Priya. You've asked your question. Eminem, if you wanted to ask a question, go ahead. I'm just tracking it in the chat and getting to them as I get to them. All right, Jaswinder. Why does my ex Joshua always try to come back? So we're trying to get some insight into his motivation, his drive. Let's see. That might be a good one. But no. Looks like we're switching to Twilight. Mauricio. Okay, will do. Let me get to the others. But yeah, we'll answer your question by the end of the session. Jaswinder. Ex Joshua, why? It feels kind of light, so that's why I'm slow on that one. Let me check. That might be it, though. Okay. I said this one was light. This one doesn't feel heavy either. So I don't know that these are really lasting reasons. There's probably some sort of trigger for him or something that causes these to recur. So 10 of Pentacles and Knight of Swords. Yeah, so Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles speaks to security. There's definitely a sureness with you that he doesn't really get with others. And so it obviously makes sense when others remind him of how much better you are. But anyways, Knight of Swords. And as far as how that's reminding him. Yeah, in a sense, this plays off of the 10 of Pentacles, but the Knight of Swords can deal with stress, anxiety, not those deep negative emotions, but the somewhat recurring everyday things. But yeah, in a similar sense to the 10 of Pentacles, those might be the feelings, and his coping mechanism used to be you. And you were just so good at that. So yeah, makes sense he would want his comforter back. But well, you already know he's not entitled or anything, so I think we're good there. Yeah. Hey, Lavina. Doing good. Yeah, so as far as summing this one up, you have what he wants. Yes. Um, there's a few people, but yeah. Anyways, and he gets reminded of that when there's an absence. But so, okay. Let me know if you have questions on that, Jess. Wasn't there? Okay. So we had a number of questions come up. We've got Priya next. I'm highlighting that now. Eminem, if you had a question, go ahead and ask, but I definitely have one from Mauricio. So you're on the list. Lavina, this is where we would slot you in. And then Daniela. And we've got plenty of time, so we can get to everybody. Priya. I am good. What are ours next moves towards me in this week? So time boxed, which will be interesting because sometimes it's nothing. They're too busy and they're planning on stuff for next week. But anyways, we'll see. Just noting the curious edge cases, so to speak. Which deck is this? Looks like we're going back to midnight. Yeah, he might have deeper problems if he's always turning back to you. Too many reminders or stressors. That's how it's good you've learned. I don't know if there's a better way of keeping him away, but yeah. Yeah. Good job taking care of yourself. Priya. Our next moves this week towards you. Sorry. Sometimes I just say it to focus. I am doing your reading, I guess, but this part is more so me communing. We don't need that one. Okay. Well, and hopefully he learns it. But anyways, Priya. Let me see if we got it all. Okay. Interesting. This feels like the first thing, and it feels more intense is probably too strong, but it's probably a more specific action or event. No problem. You're welcome. Whereas this one feels more sustained. Not as intense or sharp as this one, but I mean, when you spread it over time, it's probably similar in effort or effect. So we've got, what is that, King? Yeah, King of Cups. And then over here, we've got Two of Cups. Okay. So the King is, how best to put that in this context? The King usually deals with organizing your emotions, and not necessarily boxing them up, but putting it in its place. Like a river needing to run by the farm or through the farm for the land. So Yeah, I don't know if, because I mean that's not necessarily something that involves you, but um, no, there's probably going to be a conversation. Okay. Um, there's probably going to be a conversation. I mean, boundaries is the word that's coming to mind. I don't know that this is a boundary between you two, though. If anything, it's probably more like a FYI. This is how it's going to go, at least from his perspective. So, yeah. Um, so there's that specific thing, and then as far as this Two of Cups, I mean, any of the twos really deals with decisions, making choices. And so this one, yeah, I guess that makes sense that it's more sustained and taking time because it's having to make that choice, having to think it through and figure out, is this the right thing? Do I pursue this? Um, is it right? Yeah. I don't know that there's necessarily a conclusion there. Um, so that might be something that occupies his mind for a while. Could he get to a conclusion? Maybe. But odds are he doesn't quite settle on an answer. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. Hope that helps, Priya. That's what we got. Let me know if you've got questions. Um, well, I mean, there's probably going to be a conversation here. I mean, almost certainly. I don't know if there's going to be much to it, but yeah, that's the only definitive action, at least from him to you. Because most of this, it's just happening on his end. So, does that make sense? Are you still wanting a card or? Okay. Just want to make sure we were clear on that point. Come on. There we go. Yeah, yeah, I mean, you're probably wanting something more than a longer conversation, but I could see that being a very short conversation too. Not given any sort of decorum or anything like that, but we'll see. That's just a matter of I'm not sure if your expectations will match what the reality of what happens. It could be that he makes some space for me.
0.64 miles, 1.03 kilometers.
Stop. I have no clue what set her off. I don't know if you guys could even hear her. I have no clue what answer she was trying to give because I didn't even ask the question. But anyways, no problem. And I need to double check where I am. So there was Jaswinder, Eminem's just hanging out, or they've already bounced. Mauricio. Okay. Hello. Mateus. Trying to get insight into his feelings. Is that midnight? And now I feel silly for putting the deck right back. But anyways. Okay. His feelings towards you. Okay. They feel like equals. I'll double check if that's the right way to treat them, but I think that's it. Yeah, I think there's some nuance that we're not quite getting. But yeah, this is going to be the bigger part, the better part. So, yeah. So these are equals speaking to the same thing, his feelings towards you or about you. Okay. Judgment and Four of Swords. Four of Swords is needing a rest, a reprieve. Taking a break in a sense. It's not necessarily permanent. That would be more of a Six of Swords. But yeah, they could benefit from some space. I'm not sure if they're the type of person that would take that space. If they aren't, you might want to give a little to them. But yeah. And then judgment is decisions. It favors moving forward. But that doesn't mean moving forward with a relationship per se. It just means making a decision. Yes, no, not a I don't know. So, okay. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, they might still need. Yeah. I mean, they definitely need a break. And really, that space is just to help them formulate and make a decision. So we don't really have, like, I guess, and the fact that they're considering yes, no, proceeding with you, like, there's something there, but I just don't really have a sense of which way it will go. So they could come back from their reprieve and be like, yeah, I want to go all in or rekindle, whatever. Or it could be, I'm ready for something new. I'm moving on, sort of thing. It could go either way. But yeah, they are feeling a bit tired and needing a bit of a break. So you'll have to judge for yourself if they need more or, yeah. I don't know what your level of interaction right now is, and more importantly, how they perceive that. So, yeah. Any follow up on that? Yeah. Sadly, he's not making it quick or fast, but yeah. That is the next step. And I guess to add on, it might not be. I mean, one tactic is to pressure for an answer for a decision, and I don't think that would necessarily work out well here. Okay. So yeah, I mean, maybe bring it up. Mention that it's important to you, and that it's important to have that conversation, but yeah, they're still going to need some space to figure that out. Yeah. So, okay. Okay. No problem. Let's find. I want to say Lavina is next. Let's see. So there was Marcelo. Okay, I see Daniela's question. We're going to go ahead and get Lavina's. Let me see if there was anybody else. Okay, so yeah, Lavina and then Daniela. Thoughts and feelings. Will he take this forward? Yeah. Yeah, that's probably fine, but we'll do one more. Thoughts, feelings. Will he take initiative? Okay. That amounts to the same thing. Let's see. Okay, so we've got thoughts, and then we've got character and influence. These are probably going to help us get an idea of whether he's taking it forward. Feelings is absent. That doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't have any. If anything, it feels more just that they're a mental person and they are head focused, I guess. So we've got 10 of wands there. We've got Ace of Swords for character, and then 3 of Swords for influence. Okay. Okay. I mean, the Ace of Swords is favorable to him being powerful, having mental clarity. 3 of Swords would speak to, well, a scar in their past. Probably the best way to put that. So, yeah, given their head centric, they've probably been betrayed by their heart. And they're just naturally cautious at that point. 10 of Wands. Let me see if I can. Okay, yeah. That's more so. It's more so focused on himself rather than you. I realize this is thoughts towards you, but so 10 of Wands normally you've come through the race, you've finished the journey, but you've accumulated some baggage along the way. And the 10 of Wands suggests that sometimes you need to put some of that down, offload some of it. Here, he's really questioning if he's ready to go forward, take that next step. Because, and obviously, we've got this influence. He definitely has some baggage, and he's not even sure himself if he's ready for that. Now, given that this person is mostly head centric, if they do make that decision and decide I can let them go, we can go forward, like that'll move fast. At the same time, if they were to come to the conclusion, no, I'm just not ready for that, um, it could easily go that way. So, as far as taking it forwards, we really don't know. Once he does come to a conclusion one way or the other, that will go pretty fast. But yeah, we don't know how long it'll take for him to reach that point. So yeah. Again, we didn't really touch too much on feelings towards you. Well, not feelings at all. And we didn't really even touch on thoughts towards you much. But um, if this person did decide to go forward, it would be a all in sort of thing. So, what blockage? I guess. Can you clarify that a bit? Um, yes. Uh, I just want to clarify. There isn't really confusion. He understands the situation he's in. He knows what he's got in a sense, um, and he understands you at least to sufficient extent to make this decision. Um, so it's not that he isn't clear on what the options are. He just hasn't finished weighing them and really settling down. Um, one way or the other. But yeah, but yeah, making up his mind is the thing that needs to happen. Yeah. No, I'm not really getting any sense of family or really even other people. Like, this really does feel just like internal decision making. Um, so yeah, I don't think there's outside influences that are greatly affecting this to any degree. Um, no problem. This one, it would be hard to tell. I I feel like the appropriate time to follow up is probably the time that he makes the decision, but at that point, he acts fairly fast, or at least the decision is made and he follows through on it. So I don't know. Um, my gut says next Friday, so not in 2 days, but um, the next week, whatever the later session is then. That probably feels like a good enough time. Yeah. Odds are he might not have followed up at that point, or he already has and you already know the answer. But that feels like the right amount of time to before we revisit this. Hey, Mishti. No problem, Lavina. Okay, Daniela. Go ahead and highlight yours. Mishti, go ahead and ask your question. Um, I've got this one from Daniela. But after her, I don't have anyone. So if you want a reading, we can definitely do that. Good morning to you too. Here it's evening, but yeah. The sentiment is appreciated nonetheless. Okay. Reading on love life. Yep. Okay. We'll follow up on that. Okay. Let me focus on Daniela. Love life. think L4 might be relevant, but let me check. Don't usually get runs like that. Okay. Gosh, not yet. All right, and then this set of 4. What's coming up with this? But yes, we'll get to you, Wally. I do have Mishti after this, but then we can do you. This is the lead, but what else do we know? Except that it's a series. I'm not sure. Let's see if we can get a better sense of these. This seems like advice or guidance over on the right. This seems like a series of relationships. With maybe this exception. It just might not be formal. But anyways. We've got transmute. Interesting. That's unique to this deck. And jump down. What is that? King of Pentacles. Okay. Ace of Pentacles. And then Judgment. Okay. Interesting series. Yeah, follow up if you have questions on this, but transmute, unique to this deck, really speaks to a substantive change. And that is, yeah. How to describe that? This relationship is going to change your outlook and perspective on relationships. So, given that there's a series, I don't think that's going to be the one that lasts. Happy ever after. But it is going to have that lasting effect. And it feels like for the better. So it's not scarring, for example, would be another way of that lasting change. Timeline, I'm not sure about. Let me go through the relationships. I'll see if I can get a sense of how long they last. But yeah, that I don't think I really got a strong sense of that. King of Pentacles, someone well off. They're secure in their own position and in their own person. That feels more like a flirt, so to speak. It doesn't get serious, but it feels like you'll know that person and you'll interact with them well, you'll interact with them enough for it to be of interest. Yeah. Anyways. Ace of Pentacles. What's our sense of that one? Let me finish going through the relationships, and then I'll try to answer these questions about timing. Because for all I know, one of these is the current relationship. Yeah. I'll just double check afterwards. The Ace of Pentacles, an opportunity, something new and shiny. Someone you really would not have considered before. That's all I really know about them. And then Judgment. This one feels like one of those ones you would put on Facebook as it's complicated. Gosh, I don't want you to internalize too much of that, but basically you're going to value that one and really want it to work out. And you're basically putting all your faith in their opinion of you, in a sense. I don't really get a sense of which way it goes. But yeah, you're externalizing a lot of your value into that person and what they think of you. So, okay, now for your questions, timing, how long they last, and is one of these the current? Okay. Okay. I guess let me start here. This one, very long-lived, and I'll check if it's the current one in a sec. It's a very slow process. This purifying is sort of the sense I get. It's like if you were to actually turn an element into gold, for example, like the actual process would take a long time going atom by atom. So this one, I would not be surprised if this spanned multiple years. Decade, I guess, possible. But yeah, that might be a stretch. But yeah, definitely multiple years. Is that the current one? Okay, we'll answer that, Judy. I am going in order though, so if it's more convenient, you can check the video after. As far as Daniela, yeah, no, okay, yeah, this is the current one. As far as how far into this you are, I am. Well, you would know, of course. You know how long you've been in that relationship, but yeah. This one feels like it'll span roughly a year, probably more like 11, 10 months technically, but it's also not nearly as involved and as constant as like your transmute is. Let me get to the timing for the Ace of Pentacles. This one feels relatively short-lived. Yeah, I'm trying to get a better sense of it, but I'm getting like maybe months. And it's not like it's a bad relationship or anything. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure why that one ends. We already went over that. And this is like maybe a month to maybe 3 after the King of Pentacles stuff. As far as Judgment, yeah, that one I'm just not really sure on, especially where we don't know the outcome. Like, could it end? Yes. And if so, how long would it take to reach that point? I don't know. This feels like a long process. Or, well, long might be the wrong word. It feels intensive, laborious, in the same way that academics or critics can really dig into a subject and go all out. It feels like a lot of that. So, yeah, I'm not sure how long it'll take to work through this. Or, well, and we already talked about outcome. Did I answer your questions on? I think I got all the questions on timing and where we're at. Do I need just a checkpoint, Daniela? Was there anything else we wanted to touch on before we went to the advice? That maybe I'm misunderstanding, but that feels like a totally different question. Correct? I don't mind doing that, but I do want to finish your first one. Okay. Let me finish this, and I don't mind. We can slip that in now. The advice awaken. Interesting. That one's also unique to this deck. And then we got the 10 of Cups tempered by 10 of Swords. Interesting. I mean, 10 of Cups, it's usually a happy card. Emotional stability, happiness. That's 2 of Swords. That was going to be an awkward interpretation. 2 of Swords deals with decisions. I don't think I've done yours yet, Mishti. Give me a sec. I'll double check. 2 of Swords choices. So this basically is reminding you it's a choice to be happy. As far as Awaken, give me a sec because I don't remember where the guide for this one is. Okay. Yeah, so this one's echoing the serpent in the Garden of Eden has a similar meaning as high priestess, um, which is wisdom, right? Um, wisdom, and in a sense, intuition. Um, like you know some things, you don't necessarily know how you know those things, but they are true. So, sort of a trust yourself. Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. Trust yourself. And then choose to be happy. So those were the advice. Okay. And then can I get we just did that one. It was the when will I get to go back home? Okay, we're going to slip this one in. Are we using the same deck? Yeah, I think we are. Okay. That one just feels weak, so I'm not sure how relevant that one actually is. Just the one. Okay. I think that might be it. Okay, so yeah, these two are going to be giving us the win. This one is the lead. It has a little more weight. This one, clarifying detail is probably the best way to put that. It has a light touch. Dates aren't my specialty, so give me a sec while I try figuring it out. Page of Wands, Four of Swords, Queen of Wands. Okay, I'm getting the sense of 4 to 6 months between those. And it seems to favor sooner as far as that range is concerned. So closer to 4 months than 6. That's relatively specific for me, so feel free to follow up on how that goes. Because, yeah, I'm interested in how accurate these ones are. But yeah, 4 to 6 months, leaning towards earlier. Okay, I want to go ahead and clean this up, and let's go over who all we still have. Okay, and thank you. I'm glad we could talk. There's Mishti. Okay. Any evil eye, so any sort of spirit, person, just any sort of like ill will. Mishti is the one we're on. After Mishti, we've got Wally. Then Judy Ann. Okay. Yeah, so Mishti, Wally, Judy Ann. Okay. And yeah, we'll try to get in, because I mean, the way you phrased it could just be a yes, no. Is there some intentional malignant influence focused on you? But I think an idea of the nature of said influence. So I'll see what I can do without getting that. Okay. Yeah, it'll be fine. Basically, okay. Well, I'll sort it out later. Okay. So very lightly tempered, really. Just some clarifying detail on that. Now, are Are these speaking to different things or one? How to show that? Separate. These have some overlap. And this has a light influence on those. So would this be a source then? Yeah, you could say this is the root. I'm not sure we'll be able to do anything about it, but you could say that's the root. Yeah. Okay. 8 of trees, 2 of birds, the pathfinder, and the commander. Okay. Let me check 8 of trees. That'd normally be 8 of pentacles. 2 of birds. That's just something that bogs you down, wastes your time. Yeah. 8 of trees. That's what I wanted. Okay. Basically, 8 of trees. That would sum up to specializing specialist. But then as far as what are these then? Two of birds, I don't think that's any particular source. People can and are able to waste your time. And you need to learn to push back on that. Say no. Yeah. I'm worried that you might be accustomed to it, so you might not think of it as wasting your time. But yeah, the nature of that is by burning your time bit by bit here and there, you don't have enough to actually address problems. So, I mean, you're obviously trying to make time now, but that's very much doing its best to get in the way. As far as 8 of trees, you have a niche, a nooks. It's, yeah, falling with the specialist specialize that we mentioned earlier. There's a thing you're good at, and that's in a sense being taken advantage of. I don't know why you're the specialist for whatever that is, but people are too comfortable with you being the only specialist they have capable of that. And this might take more time, but you'll need to start pushing back, saying someone else needs to learn this. You need to find another person who can double up here. because it's similar to the Two of Birds, where you're the only resource source or the go-to on a lot of fronts. That is also consuming your time, and again, not letting you address things like you should. Okay. Now the root. Hey, Jim. The Pathfinder. And how is that the root? Let me read on that one. Because it would almost be more accurate to describe that one as the path maker. It's usually a very good one to get. Do we pass it already? No. Well, we must have. It is a lotus. I know. Pentacles. Okay, there we go. Ambition, diligence, achiever. Those are the key words on it. Okay, and then this is slightly tempered by the commander. Resourceful, grounded, controlling. Okay. Gosh. Is that what that is? Okay. In a sense, you're backfiring on yourself. The Pathfinder, your ability to identify the goal and accomplish it, that's being abused because you're being given goals that just aren't as important. And we're seeing that in the Eight of Trees and the Two of Birds. The commander, it's tacking onto that. Basically, once you've got your hands on it, you're not letting go. It is part of the issue, and that's not the worst of it. But yeah, the hard part is going to be pushing back and just telling people no when you could almost more easily tell them yes. Whether it's habit, whether it's because you're capable. Like those are good traits and good qualities that you have, but it's being used to bog you down and burn your time and in a sense burn you. So as far as where this influence is coming from, let me see how intentional it is. Hey, Alan. One sec. Let me get a sense of how intentional. It is an intentional scheme. It's not necessarily a person. I don't know what it would map to in your faith or understanding. For me, it would just be a malicious spirit. I don't know that they really have much power to enforce this to really stop you by any means, by any stretch of the imagination. So, I mean, now that you've identified it, now that it's identified, it might be easy to overcome. Yeah. Yeah. Let me know if you have questions, but basically, you need to push back on stuff that you would normally say yes to. And we've already gone over the reasons why. So, let me go back. Okay. So, Jim, Alan, if you want to ask questions, go ahead. I'm just going through the chat. I've got a couple more lined up, but then we can definitely get to you. And Judy, we already have your question. Okay. But I believe Wally was next. Okay. Yeah. Love life with cancer. And then Judy about Wayne. Okay. So, yes. I don't know that there's really anything you need to do to ward it off explicitly. I don't know that you like need to attack that source. Okay. But yeah, speaking to Mishti, there is, yeah, well, let me know if you need more clarification on that. Just to clarify, sorry, Jim's question. Should you travel outside your homeland for a new job opportunity? Just want to make sure I'm understanding the question. The love life with cancer. Looks like it's Twilight. Okay. Are we necessarily interested in the reason why? I mean, you specified job opportunity, but is that relevant, or are we just really focused on the should you leave? And then Wally, love life. Okay. Okay, just one card, Wally. Empress. This represents the mother archetype. So, yeah, I don't know that you can get much closer to family. I mean, there's obviously the Emperor, but yeah, she's probably a better representation. So, okay, will do. But yeah, so this would be positive, fruitful, you could say. Okay. Let me know if you have questions on that. I know it was brief, but it is what it is. And now, Judy, asking about Wayne. Okay. And then I think, yeah. And then we'll get to the newer ones, but that's okay. 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 Will do. We are starting to run a bit late. So I might be short and brief with you guys. Don't take offense. I'm just trying to get everybody, just so you know. Judy Ann Wayne. Yeah, it's just as good. It'll be okay on its own. Okay. Yes, no, we'll get it from the combination. It's leaning towards the left as far as like extra information. Transmute, Knight of Swords, and what was that? 5 of Wands. I'll double check real quick, but I think that's enough. Yep, and then. Interesting. So it says the 5 trumps, and says the answer is caution this, yes, but you must fight for it. So if you're not interested, obviously, no. It leans towards transmute. That deals with a change in who you are. It's, in a sense, similar to death, where it's out with the old you, in with the new. I don't know if you're ready for that kind of change, and I don't know if that kind of change can happen as quick as it might need to, if this is someone you really want to chase. So it is definitely a high bar. Sorry, Lily, go ahead and drop your question in. Or if it's just a general read, a message, that's fine. I'm just already over time, so I'm going relatively quick at this point. So, okay, want to make sure we were good, Judy. Yeah. Best of luck if you go for it. Okay. So we've got Jen, we've got Alan, we've got Sabhadra. Sorry if I'm not saying that right. And we've got Lily. Okay, you're welcome. So 4 more people, just so you guys know. And let me go back and find the question. And we'll highlight this one. It's a little closer to what you need. Really, you were focused on should you be leaving home. So not necessarily leaving the country, but at least going far enough away where, well, it's no longer home. Anyways. Finally, Lost Forest. I really love the art on this one, but it just generally doesn't get as many questions as the other decks. So, but yeah. Okay, and you'll probably get a similar 3-card spread for yes, no, but yeah. They might mix it up on me. We'll see. You're welcome. Okay. Okay, yeah. 3 cards. We're leaning on these 2 for meaning. 10 of Fire, normally 10 of Wands. The Tower, which deals with upheaval, and Queen of Skies. Interesting. Let me double check. Okay. Yeah. So 10 of Wands, 10 of Fire in this case, is trumping, similar to how the 5 of Wands trumped in the previous one. There's only a few of these cards, but we've had a couple now. In this case, it means we don't know. And it's probably ambiguous. It could go either way. So, frankly, if you have a preference, I would probably just lean into that. The Tower deals with upheaval. Normally, it's ominous and associated with destruction and whatnot, but where you're potentially looking to uproot yourself and whatnot, that might be the direction to go. But as far as your question of should, the answer is we don't know. So, yeah, and that was just filler. But yeah, okay. Let me know if you have questions. I'm sorry it wasn't a more clear-cut yes or no, but that's what we got. So that was Jim, and then we had Alan dropped theirs in. Life reading. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is this just a general reading? Basically, ping the universe, see what we get back. Okay. Just wanted to check since people sometimes have their own meanings, but glad we're on the same page. Yeah. Okay. We'll be beginning with Cosma. And that's good enough. There's also one up here. Might as well since we got the detail. Maybe. I'm already running overtime, but if these go fairly fast, I don't mind slipping it in. But it'll just be a matter of time. So I don't know if you want to wait and see, or I mean, there will be the video later. So. Let's see. That one feels a little different. me see if I got it all. I'm getting a sense of incompleteness, but I'm also not getting the sense that I need to go get cards. So, partial answer. Hopefully, it's enough to get you started on figuring out what else the universe might need you to know. Yeah, it's definitely a focus. I honestly have no clue what's up with that card. What kind? Yeah, so this falls into the FYI DM. It's not necessarily trying to answer your question. This is advice straight to you. I realize that fits in with the theme of this one, but it's not necessarily part of the formal answer to your question or your request. Yeah, I'm going to have to flip that before I know what that has to do with. But yeah, main focus, the entertainer. Oh, tempered by 5 of embers. Okay, interesting. Over here, 2 of birds. We saw that earlier. And then the spirit plane. Normally the chariot. This one has a fairly different interpretation, if I remember right, but we can double check. The entertainer. There's good and bad to this one, and it all depends on context. So normally if you were asking about finances or success, more worldly things, it would be positive. It would say you're performing great or you will perform great. When you're speaking of spiritual things or matters of the heart, it tends to be putting on a face and indicate that you're not necessarily being true or honest. You might be a bit of a fraud. That's the term I think this guide uses for it. So yeah, and that's the main gist. We've got this light one detail, the 5 of embers. It's a bit of a warning that there may be conflict with others. There may be hardships there. The fear is that you might lose sight of the bigger picture. So together, really, I would say this suggests taking a step back, figuring out what is important to you, and double checking that you've got that covered. So the 2 of birds, I'll have to double check the spirit plane, but the 2 of birds is warning about wasted energy, misplaced effort. So given that you already need to step back, it's kind of a given that you're already going to address that. Let me check the spirit plane. Rest, feeling at home, rejuvenation. When the spirit plane shows up in a reading, take it as a suggestion for meditative rest and reflection. Appreciate what skills you have acquired and who you have become already at this point in your life. Know that you are a remarkable being and let it rejuvenate your weary soul. Then take these feelings and that internal power that you have acquired and hold on tight, because this next chapter is only just beginning. This is a card about becoming who you are and feeling at home with yourself and your surroundings. It can be worrisome for those who fear stillness, but stillness is sometimes the best move to make. The chariot normally has a strong forward movement. But yeah, this particular deck, with this particular interpretation, it is reflecting before you hit the accelerator, before you hit the gas. So, I mean, all three of these had basically the same thing. Take a step back, make sure you're getting the stuff that's right, that's important, right? Make sure you're not wasting time or spending your efforts unwisely, basically. And then get ready, because there's a lot coming. And again, this only got a partial read of what was relevant. So yeah, and maybe that was to emphasize that you need that step back. So yeah, we'll leave it at that for now. Let's see. We've got Subhadra, career reading, then Lily, and then if we have time. And so far we're okay. We'll just see. No problem. You're welcome, I should say. Okay, career. Really? It's always the worst when I put a deck back and then it's like, oh wait, I need that one. Okay. Normally I would expect the sibling deck, Prisma, for something like this, but oh well. They don't have monopolies, so. Might just be a twofer. Okay. 1, 2 doesn't necessarily follow directly. But yeah, that's not to say that this is greater or weightier or anything. But yeah. 4 of embers, 4 of wands. Since this is Cosmo, let me double check. And then you've got the Mender. I want to say that would be Queen of Lotuses, but I'll double check anyways. Just because Cosmo likes to do things a little different. 4 of embers. Community, home, celebration. The shrine shows itself to us when we are approaching a midpoint in our journey. It reminds us that the work is not over yet, but that does not mean we can't take a pause to celebrate in self-care. Your journey will be made much easier with proper rest and reflection. Often when we power through things without stopping, we may get there faster, but not as well off. Pace yourself, and you will come out ahead in the end. So really nothing crazy there. Just advice on how to approach it. The Mender, Queen of Chalices. Yeah. Compassion, calm, comfort. The Mender has a comforting presence that imbibes those around them with a state of calm. In a reading, it's a very positive sign of restoration and reflection. Through the Mender's compassion, they have the ability to heal, even without intentionally doing so. A lot can be learned from the Mender on being soft, compassionate, and kind. If you feel as if you have been too rough lately, the Mender may show itself as a reminder to embrace the softer side of yourself. So, yeah. As far as career goes, it seems like you're on track. And it's just got advice for, well, slowing down, making sure you don't try to run faster than you can, or than you can sustain. And then the Mender is reminding you to take a soft touch. It's easy in business and whatnot to become more callous. This would advise against that. Hey, Jacqueline. How's it going? Lily. There you go. Okay. Jacqueline. Or no, your question's already there. Jacqueline, if you have a question, go ahead and ask. I am running a little late today, or at least a little long with the session, but it's been good. So, will my son be allowed to move back home to me soon? My ex stole him. If you don't feel comfortable answering, that will... So there's a second question. If we don't like the first, I don't think I have any issues with that. Okay, looks like Twilight is doing that. Yeah, I don't really feel an issue with that question, so I'll go ahead and, well, we'll try to read on it at least. And then, since you already dropped the other one, we'll see if we can get that as well. No problem. Okay, keeping it short and brief. Justice. So it's a balancing effect. It's the reap what you sow motif. I'm pretty sure, I mean, obviously I only know your half of it, but it sounds like your son would be restored to you. It is basically how this card would answer that. Now let me ask about the art business. No problem. that might be skewed. I'll double check. Yeah. I think we might be getting simple answers now. Okay, so yeah, one card. It's skewed, so it's not quite the normal upright meaning. I'll just have to suss out what the difference is. The Emperor normally deals with, well, order, structure, authority. Yeah, boiling it down, it feels like you'll need to establish yourself as an authority. I understand that's a bit vague. And yeah, I'm not quite sure the scope. Because, I mean, as an artist, or, well, maybe that's a bit presumptuous. But it's one thing to deal in goods, it's another thing to really understand them and know their true value. So, okay. So, yeah, I don't know how to establish that more, or to become more firmly grounded. But yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I see this authority as someone who can explain it. So I don't know if there's any way to polish that part of your skill set, but yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't really get a sense. If anything, that feels more like kindling to help it get kickstarted and going faster. So, anyways, let me know if you need anything else on that. No problem. Okay. Jacqueline, if you're still on, go ahead and ask your question. We're going to do the right now, but then it would be your turn. General Read 2022. Okay. Same deck. We already shuffled. Okay. Let's find out. Weaker. Still relevant though. See if we can get something more clear on that area. That's a series. I don't know what of. Okay. So is it the truth? And if not, what's their motivation? Okay. And we're probably done with those cards. Let's see. Fuzzy. Okay, so this one, theme or motif. It's going to be a common thread throughout the year. Yeah, whether that's a lesson or something, I don't know. We'll find out when we flip. These are succession, one after the other. I don't know how close they'll follow each other. There might be a gap in between, but it's a series of somethings. Could be relationships, it could be events, it could be a mix. I don't know. I'll get there when I flip it. This one, I was saying fuzzy. It's also a lighter one. It's sort of spread throughout here. I should say this is earlier year. Like you'll probably be coming into this series fairly soon. This one overlaps, and like I said, that one's common thread throughout. So, what is that? Page of Cups, Six of Pentacles, Six of Wands. Down here, Eight of Pentacles. Okay. And then over here, Nine of Swords. Okay. A lot of ones I don't usually see. Yeah, I feel like I know the 9, but I'm not sure. Page of Cups. Okay. So this one, I mean, how to put that? That's exposing yourself, not in a crude way, but just putting yourself out there, being a bit more vulnerable, a little more open to experiences, trying things out. Yeah, that's the gist of that. So new. For all I know, you're already in that with a New Year's resolution or something. Six of Pentacles. Yeah, let me. I think I'm remembering the Seven of Pentacles is the issue. I'll probably do this one. So, because that one, it's enjoy some stuff now, but save for the future as well. But 6. Okay. Excess generosity, paying it forward. And it's not just generosity, it is both give and take. You lack in some things, you need help. And it's don't be too shy to accept that. You have abundantly in others, and it's good for you to give of that excess. So it gets the wheels spinning. Yeah. As far as yeah, that's going to be too hard to pin down. That could manifest in a number of different ways, and I'm not getting a strong sense of which. And for all I know, it could be a couple. So, 6 of Wands. It's dealing with a period of rest, reflection. There's a few cards that are like that. It's not necessarily you have a roadmap. You know where you're going, and you've probably been traveling that road. This would suggest a period of just taking a break from pedal to the metal sort of thing. Just renewing yourself and getting ready to push on. So that sort of thing. 8 of Pentacles. Yeah, I mean that. How to describe that? There's been success, probably mild, nothing extravagant or anything. But your work is paying off. And the only thing to note about that is that it asks you to continue maintaining it. You've already got the kickstart, the jump start. It's just a matter of keeping it going at this point. So a little effort, but maybe not as much as you had to put in before. So early 2022 here, and then 9 of Swords. Let me just double check that one. Because I'm thinking of one. Okay, this is what I think. Yeah. I associate this one with analysis paralysis. I was wondering if I was mixing it up with the page, but yeah, basically wanting to have information or wanting more assurances, certainty. But the issue is there is impending deadlines or stuff coming. And if you do nothing, you'll be far worse off than if you act and frankly try anything. Yeah. Anyways, that's probably enough for now. I realize we only got part of the year. You could probably come ask for more later on if you wanted. But yeah. And Jacqueline. Okay. Truth, if not, why? Okay. This will be sufficient. first. Let me check. Okay. There's some clarity or information in this one. The combination is going to give us the yes/no on the truth or not. The Emperor, Eight of Cups, and Judgment. Ooh. Let me double check. Because Eight of Cups is no. Emperor. Okay, that's all right. And then Judgment. Okay. And that one's all right too. So then as far as how this relates to truth, it is true. It's not the true reason. So that's what we're getting out of that. And then as far as the extra information from the Emperor, let's see. Because this would be their motivation. Why? Let me read up an Emperor. We've got a digital guide here. It's actually the guide for the first person. The Emperor card signifies male power and the father archetype, a symbol of balance, control, leadership, power, and security. This card predicts that a certain situation can be overcome with careful planning and dedication. This card indicates a return to order. The appearance of this card in a reading indicates a positive improvement as well as trust. You can trust in yourself to make the right decision because you hold the ultimate control of your own life. Okay. Is that what it is? Okay. Yeah, so similar to how they're telling the truth, but it's not necessarily the right truth, the full truth. This is saying they're doing it because they think it's the right thing to do. Does that mean it's actually the right thing to do? Maybe, maybe not. But yeah, I can understand you wanting to have a deeper and hopefully more honest and more transparent conversation with them. Will they grant you that? I don't know. Hopefully they would own up to it. But I mean, it'll depend on the person. It'll depend on the type of emperor. Some are very stubborn. Some are more wise and more respectful. So, yeah. Yeah. So it's on you whether or not you want to confront them about it. I'm not necessarily. Yeah, there's really nothing malicious here. So, yeah. I would say that's your call whether or not to follow up on that. Okay. All right. With that, we'll call it a day. Thanks for tuning in. It's fun doing readings for all of you. We've got the Friday session, and of course, we'll have next week as well. And yeah, hope you're having a great week. And until next time, take care.